Hello, what is exactly the EHR RM-ES? Well, RM stands for Records Management and ES stands for Evidentiary Support, which is really important in medical legal considerations. Implementation of the EHR is required by HIPAA's meaningful use, as we all know. As we rely on the EHR for day-to-day operations, we must be certain we're using it properly to comply with the many healthcare business and legal policies, rules, regulation, and legislation. The HL7 Standards Development Organization developed a set of standards to guide HIM professionals, healthcare administrators, and other healthcare professionals to properly develop and finalize their EHR implementation policy. Today, we'll talk about features of the RM-ES functional profile that guide and support HIM professionals. This is a particularly relevant topic in this course because the RM-ES addresses many concerns raised by legislation, both administrative law and legislative pieces of legislation. Finally, the HL7 RM-ES is an ongoing project which is continually working to improve the standardization of the EHR, to increase its power, and to ensure its regulatory compliance features. So work on this set of standards began in 2005 and then focused on expanding its specifications by setting standards in areas of the EHR regarding records management and data security, authentication measures, and data integrity. And it took about 5 years to publish the first set of standards. Since then, since 2010, it's been through one revision to the standards, and the committee meets regularly to modify, adjust, and expand its features in response to user input. So it is an ongoing project. Evidentiary support is very important as the EHR is used in medical legal proceedings. It's important, very imperative, that the EHR contains very accurate time and date stamps, signature verification, authenticated users. There's a very long and extensive list of standards that ensure veracity of many of the EHR features. Records management is also very important for meaningful use. Records must be accessible, user-friendly, secure, and interoperable. It's also important for legal uses, for court cases, for business contracts, for payers, for release of information purposes, and for health information exchange interoperability standards. Examples include release of information criteria, establishing standards to make sure that the release is made to proper persons and that the proper person is in possession of the information and is authorized to release it. There's also records retention coordination with regulations to make sure that the facility is in compliance with all of the legal requirements regarding that. So regulatory compliance is increasingly important to the implementation of the EHR in healthcare facilities. The HIPAA meaningful use requires that the features be available, user-friendly, and also interoperable. So the HL7 RM-ES addresses this issue. Also, the Office of National Coordinator requires certain metadata elements for certification of the EHR vendors. Currently, there's no set of standards mandated, but the HL7's ER-RM-ES standards do address in detail all those metadata elements. Other issues addressed include preventative measures. For example, if a record is incomplete, it must be flagged as such, and if a timeline is set for completion, it must be flagged and displayed. So currently it does allow some flexibility because the regulation is also flexible, But certainly as more requirements are mandated, the HL7 RMES standards will become more rigid and more specific. Many pieces of legislation were taken into consideration when developing the set of standards. These include HIPAA's security rule regarding data security and integrity, the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Act, which involves records availability and data element standardization requirements, the False Claims Act, which requires management and retention of documents, and finally the Food and Drug Act's signature attestation details. This set of standards has helped HIM professionals and others who develop, implement, and use the EHR. Since the EHR is such a vital key in the healthcare setting, it's imperative that we are confident we're using it correctly. As time goes on, this set of standards will include more detailed and perhaps stringent specifications. Thank you for listening.